What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today we are going to be taking a look at the best comp in Storybook Brawl, the Exodia build, on what I think is the best hero in Storybook Brawl. Their snow hero, like Snow Angel. That has been my mantra for a little bit now, and especially with the nerf of Wonder Waddle, I do have to say that I think Snow Angel is currently on top. The thing is, Snow Angel just rewards you for doing what you want to do already, which is pick up XP and get an early lead and then use that early lead to find even more XP. And Snow Angel starts off with no hero power for the entirety of level 2, but then as soon as you hit level 3, you just get 3 free gold, which is basically like getting 1 free gold every turn before that, right? Because now you have 3 gold to pick up this new character. Then once you hit level 4, you get 4 free gold, and that's even more. So it's basically like a better econ hero than something like Cursed King or Sharebear, and it rewards you for doing what you already want to do, which is buying that XP. You're going to get those leveled up good characters even sooner. Typically, I wouldn't go for the tiny there, and it was definitely something I was debating, but the thing is, Snow Angel is also powerful enough that you can make riskier plays. And for that, I figured I'd pick up a tier 2 treasure, see what it is. Maybe I'll be taking a little bit of damage this turn. I will be. But it doesn't matter, because I'm going to get a free unit next turn, and that's going to make up for any tempo loss that I might have had from combining 3 of my units into 1 here. Then I'm going to go ahead and pick up the pair of Labyrinth Minotaurs. I also really liked the tiny that was in the shop. I'm sorry, not the tiny, the crafty that was in this shop. And I definitely thought about picking that up next, but once we get Skip's puzzle rune, then you kind of have a game plan. Then it's like, okay, let's find some triples, let's find some treasures, and then we'll level up with Snow Angel, and I felt like that was a pretty good route to go. So that's the idea from here. Then I'm going to use my remaining gold to pick up a crafty, and I'm saying all the wrong dwarves this game. I'm going to pick up a lucky, and I'm going to hopefully use that econ to help me find these triples and activate this Skip's puzzle rune. So that's the plan, and another lucky little lucky. I thought about purposefully calling that one by the wrong name. We pick up a doubly there. No, we pick up a lucky, and now we've got 2 pairs with a treasure on the way next turn, and we are definitely en route to activating this puzzle rune, which is just an absurdly powerful treasure, and then we'll be able to make use of that extra XP with Snow Angel to maintain our lead. Well, I won't say maintain our lead, but maybe find ourselves in a leading position as we are down to 28 health and taking a bunch of damage. Also against the lobby leader here, but we have gotten considerably stronger this turn. Picking up a 9/9 is definitely a lot of stats to add to the board. So next turn, Labyrinth Minotaur might be nice to add to that as well. We'll have to battle through these cats and minotaurs on my opponent's side of the board, but we actually get a win and up against the lobby leader, so things are definitely turning around here in a big way. I'll pick up Labyrinth Minotaur for a tier 2 treasure. Don't want to go for rune stones, that's important. I do consider Ring of Meteors because we have the Trojan Donkey, but ultimately I'm just going to go for locked chest, maybe find like a treasure map or something like that. Could be quite cool. So that's what I go for, and then I roll one more time. Don't really see anything in particular that I like here. I would much rather try to find another pair for one of the units that we already have, or a triple after another roll, and that gives us a Sleeping Princess. And now I've got to find a lucky, and I've got to find another Sleeping Princess, but once I do that, if I can do that in the next turn or two, that'll kick me up to level 5. And that is when I think we'll start to see the big comeback tour. I kind of spoke on this earlier when I talked about that tiny pickup on 2.2, but I do think that powerful heroes like Wonder Waddle and Snow Angel do allow some creative flexibility in terms of tanking in those initial combats, knowing that you'll be able to make up some ground later with your hero power. So that's kind of the idea here, that we are gonna get that power eventually. We'll pick up a Puff Puff this turn. Not super impressive, though we'll still wind up being good, and the fact that we pick up a lucky triple also means that we'll be able to make use of that Puff Puff. And taking a look at these treasures, I know that we do have 2 dwarves, but Deepstone Mine just ain't it, fam. So going to wind up playing some summons and playing Ring of Thunder. And we can even put this Puff Puff in here potentially and try to give that some additional stats just because we picked that up for free. So don't hate that. Then I'm also going to pick up a Cinderella and a Spell to finish off the turn. Spell will give us some nice combat stats along with the Ring of Thunder. All of those +1s will wind up stacking and potentially giving us a donkey that can actually do something here. But now we only have to cast 3 more spells and then we'll have the Puzzle Rune active. So that's definitely something that I think could be strong for us. And Peep, also playing the Peep and the Black Cat, point of that is to just get some additional Ring of Thunder triggers onto this donkey. Not going to be anything super impressive, but it's going to make it so that we only take 5 this turn. So not too shabby. I'll take it. And from here, I'll wind up picking up a Spellweaver. I think that we could consider some stuff like Friendly Spirit, especially in one of those Ring of Thunder positions where it's going to be getting a bunch of triggers and then could land onto the donkey. That's definitely something powerful that we could potentially do. So going to wind up picking up that, and then I do actually like some things in this shop here. A pair of Copycats, certainly interesting, but the main things I'm thinking are we could play a ranged unit in the back line to go along with the Ring of Thunder. It's a little bit awkward though because it doesn't really have any stats on it just yet, but I could also just decide to play my Sleeping Princess in the back line just because it's a little bit of a bigger unit. So gonna wind up doing that. Pick up the Black Cat there as well, with the idea being that that's just 1 more unit that we could potentially easily triple, because we're going to want to activate this Puzzle Rune in the next 2 turns. Otherwise, we wasted a whole bunch of time doing nothing this game. So hopefully we can avoid that happening. We're going to have a rather large Sleeping Princess, but we're going to take some more damage. Definitely doing a little bit of a submarine strategy this game, tanking down to hopefully get out of this later. I pick up the Merlin's hat, but I think the end isn't actually exactly what we want here. I am going to pick up the Juliet, and I consider casting the end on Juliet, but I think that there's a slightly better strategy here, and that's just roll and try to hit one of a few different cantrip spells like Lucky Coin. That way I can activate Cindy this turn and guarantee that we get the Puzzle Rune. That'll make us level 6 next turn, which I think will be a really big help. So now that we are going to be able to activate that, I'm just going to sell off and sell into a few more things, pick up a Time Flies, that way I can be a little bit stronger, and then I'll cast Ride of the Valkyrie, picking up Secret Stash, and that will activate the Puzzle Rune. Now next turn we are going to be level 6. We'll grab a free level 6 character. We grabbed a free level 5 character this turn, and Lancelot is one of the better characters that you can grab when you are playing Snow Angel, and probably the best tier 6 character that you grab is going to be Hercules, especially with the recent Hercules buff. A 25/25 is just really, really powerful. I'm also eyeing up this Fairy Godmother. You might be able to tell here now, this is also played on the previous patch, by the way. I should have mentioned that earlier, but doesn't have too big of a difference, just a small nerf on Princess P, Empress P, hashtag Queen P. So not a big deal, but I really like Boomhilda now alongside Hercules. Putting it from 25 attack to 35 attack means it only needs 3 hits to activate, and we're also 3 XP or more potentially up on the rest of this lobby. So there's a decent chance that Hercules can just activate this turn, especially up against a Geppetto, as we see that is who we are playing up against here. So yeah, that's the XP of the rest of the lobby. I think most people were on 5.0, so it does look like we might be able to get this Hercules activation off as long as we can dodge this Water Wraith attack, and we are able to do so. Lancelot almost able to activate as well. That'll be able to activate next turn. Unfortunately, the Boomhilda goes bye-bye behind the Hercules, but then it's my only frontline character, so my opponent has to attack into it, and we even have enough stats on this Robin Hood that we win the combat with the Ring of Thunder equipped as well. So that was really sweet. And from here, Mimic Chest actually has a lot of interesting play to it. So one thing that makes this Mimic Chest really cool is it makes this Evil Twin cost less thanks to our Merlin's hat, which means now I could pick up another Hercules and potentially do the same thing again this turn. So that's really sweet. I don't really want to triple this Sleeping Princess here for two reasons. One, I kind of like the secret stash that we have access to this turn. I'd love to be able to make use of that. The other thing that I'm kind of thinking of is if we find a treasure map, which we are going to be able to, I'm locking for Good Boy, and then I'm going to pick up the Sleeping Princess, and we're going to find the treasure map. It's a little awkward because I like the secret stash plus Mimic Chest, and we could toss the Merlin's hat, but I also don't like, it's a Mimic Chested treasure map, so I don't want to just like overuse it and basically not make as great of use of it. So I float the treasure map for a turn. That's going to allow us to grab a tier 5 treasure from Lancelot. We're actually going to win this combat. So at this point, just have to replace the secret stash, and Hand of Midas on Good Boy is definitely a good route. And then I'm also going to replace this Merlin's hat so that we can pick up the treasure map and throw out the secret stash. But this does mean that now I could go ahead and triple this Friendly Spirit, and that will also give me a tier 7 treasure. Now that said, I don't want to mess around with this stuff for too long, considering the Candy Rain here on the Good Boy. I don't want to be too silly about it, and I want to just grab that tier 7 treasure rather than just hold onto it forever. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. I am going to go ahead and throw a Beauty's Influence on Boomhilda, and while I would have loved to not waste the Hercules here, I don't want to just not use it forever. So going to wind up just activating that right now and not worrying about it. I do think it might get shrunk by a Robin Hood or something. No, never mind. That's not the case. It activates, so that's going to give us a tier 7 treasure, and Good Boy should have no problem holding down the fort here. It is actually a really close battle. 3 ranged units to 2 ranged units, but we actually just wind up barely taking that. So very close one, but now we're going to grab a tier 7 treasure, and I told y'all this was an Exodia video. World Tree has got to be the pickup. I do think that Fairy Queen's Wand could be really, really good. Plus 14 on an upgraded Good Boy. Kind of tough to pass up. However, you know what else gives plus 14 to an upgraded Good Boy? A World Tree plus a Lordy. So I thought that this would be better long term to be able to just pick up the Good Boy and go nuts with that. I will pick up Friendly Spirit here too, and I'm not super excited by any of these options. Honestly, could have seen just taking Fool's Gold, but I wind up going for the Horn, and then I can pick up this Flourish for free and throw that on a Good Boy, since Good Boy is now a tree. So I figured that that would be a cute strategy to go with. You'll notice that one thing that I do in this game, maybe also could have picked up the Heartwood Elder or something like that too for the Good Boy. One thing that you'll notice is that I always try to get the Robin Hood bonus on the Good Boy. I could have just tried to get the Gumblegore bonus on the Good Boy, but like the Robin Hood bonus, I don't know, it's like more consistent. I think I just wasn't paying attention to the fact that Boomhilda was plus 10 and Robin Hood was only plus 7, but that's going to happen. Lock onto a True Love's Kiss so that we can TLK our Lancelot for an upgraded tier 6 unit. Gives us another Good Boy. Doing pretty good with all of this stuff for sure, and Snow Angel is obviously a very good hero. That's going to get us a ton of stats this combat, and another Good Boy for good measure. That's going to be even more. So really, really powerful stuff here. Honestly, probably should play the Polywoggle. The Robin Hood bonus will go on to the Polywoggle if I do that. But the Polywoggle's just going to slay. So that's like a really powerful strategy that I think I probably should have tried to pursue, but just instead trying to roll. There's a bunch of 6-drops that I don't really care about, where I'm really trying to find access to either Ashwood Elm or Lordy. Those are the primary ones, and yeah, don't want to really mess around with all of that silly stuff too much, and just not get the ones that I need. I feel like it was more economical to just keep on rolling and roll for the stuff that I actually wanted. But we are absolutely massive here against Geppetto. This is not going to be a problem. I think that this is going to be a kill despite their large Echo Wood. Yeah, that'll take Geppetto out of the lobby. So doing really good, but this isn't quite the Exodia comp. We still have to make this into an Exodia comp after all, and one thing that I am noticing is that the Puff Puffs have given our good boys a little bit of extra stats up until this point, and because we just have so many good boys, I play another Puff Puff a little bit on the sillier side, but it's going to give all of my good boys +1/+1 each turn every time it dies. I also consider like playing Copycat or something. Like I said, maybe if like this is the route you're going to go, something like Heartwood Elder is actually kind of reasonable, but it's okay. Go for a True Love's Kiss on Hercules. That gives me a large Jormungand. Not super excited about that one, but I am excited enough to sell off my whole board and, or whole bench rather, and pick up another good boy. I'm going to backline the Puff Puff here. Maybe that's just wrong. I mean, at this point, I probably just shouldn't have been playing it at all. Should have just sold off the Puff Puff. But we're going to have enough stats here, despite my opponent being a really, really big mage baller. We've just got way too many stats with all of these good boys, and this is just a natural good boy board. We haven't even done anything crazy with the World Tree, really, because we're just playing a bunch of good boys. So I roll hoping to find another good boy, and I do. And as much as Pandora's Box is really sweet, I pick up the Exodia comp. Who can blame me? That seemed really sweet too. And then I pick up a Baby Bear from there, because Baby Bear represents 6 spells. It's like a double upgraded monster book or something at that point. So felt like there was pretty decent odds for the Baby Bear to get to scamming. And I'm just going to play that and see what we can do with it. We've got the Exodia comp now. We do probably want to play some summons, replacing our backline characters slowly, but we also just have 3 upgraded good boys that are all quite large, and honestly that's just going to be insane regardless of what way you split it here. And wind up putting the Baby Bear on the Gumblegore, which is good for Baby Bear, and then also makes it so that the good boy gets the Robin Hood bonus instead of the Baby Bear. I don't know, like I said, was just kind of being silly with all of that stuff. It's not really going to matter. We're trying to scam some bear stains, and we actually don't for a pretty long while here. My opponent is able to hang off, scam a Baby Bear. They don't really care about that, and then they crack open their crock. But honestly, their comp just wasn't super impressive. They make a Hippo, it takes out my good boy, but the rest of my units are too big, and eventually we do scam their bear stains in the back too. But it's not going to be enough actually to kill my opponent, so we've still got a little bit of work to go here. I do think that Ashwood Elm is a really good pickup from here. I actually think that Burning Beard is pretty big too. The Ashwood Elm getting to give everything +18 attack, and then Burning Beard just being a great depository for all of the stats that we get from all of the good boys. So after thinking about it for a few seconds, I'm just going to go ahead and pick up both of these. And then I'm going to keep playing this Boomhilda and cut the Robin Hood and just put the Boomhilda on 2 good boys, which is probably what I should have done from the get-go, but we were having some fun with it. We were seeing what we could make happen, and now it's just time to take this lobby down. Up against Horde Dragon, they could always have some high endgame treasures, but they're just hat-balling. Well, they're hat-balling with a 9th Book of Merlin. That's actually pretty good still too, but we are just much better. They are going to scam one of our good boys, which could potentially be the loss of a bunch of stats, but we had too more good boys go off this turn, so not a huge deal. And we get a few scams ourselves with our own 9th book. So that'll take out the Horde Dragon and move us along to the finals. And that's going to be up against that Pan Shadow that we just beat not too long ago. I'm going to hope to find like a Lordy or another Ashwood Elm, and another Lordy pretty good. Like I said, it's +14 to each good boy. So that's a bunch of stats. That's more than Gumblegore. Question is, do I want to play... Oops, did I freeze? I'm back. Question is, do I want to play the Boomhilda? Do I want to play the Baby Bear? Or do I want to play this Echowood? And honestly, I mean, how can you turn down an Echowood when you have this many good boys? We're like a trees comp, and we're a good boy comp, and we're a dwarves comp, and that's exactly what the World Tree does. We're not really making that much use out of the Exodia of our comp. However, we're still going to cast 14 spells with this comp, which is better than nothing, and quite powerful indeed. So really just being a World Tree build that, sure, also has some additional random scam in there, and that's pretty fun too. I think that's going to give us an absolutely massive Echowood, because that's getting all of the buffs from all of these good boys, plus all of the buffs when the Burning Tree gets buffed up here too. We're going to see Echowood go up to 5,000, almost 6,000 attack, and almost 5,000 health. So a really good game, and all of that was really just due to Snow Angel. The power that gave us, both in terms of the flexibility to really heavily pursue XP, but then we also got the Lancelot, and we got the Hercules, both for free, and that's a ton of gold. And I think that's a great way to look at this hero. You think about heroes like Sharebear and Cursed King. Well, typically once you hit level 6, you're trying to dream out of those heroes anyways, and Snow Angel's no different. It doesn't do anything once you hit level 6, but it actually gives you more econ than some of those typical econ heroes that you think about, giving us a donkey. Then it gave us, oh, what did it give us on turn 4? That was the Puff Puff, which seemed silly at the time, but wound up buffing our endgame good boys because of the World Tree. So really sweet game. That's going to be it for me today. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.